Hi everybody, it's Paul Harris with Global Recruiters of Blackhawk here in sunny California. How are you doing? I hope you're doing well. So you guys, last week I was able to attend a great meeting, and in the next couple minutes I'm going to try to do my best to give you a real quick download of the media highlights in case you weren't able to make it. It was all about the connected car. So you can't go to any trade show that I've been to in the past couple of years where people don't talk about the connected car, right? It's going to be a $400 billion industry by 2022. There's always breakout sessions on it. So I was able to do a deep dive, kind of a whole day here in Silicon Valley. And so I'm going to give you a little download on what happened at that event. I came back from the event, basically called the Connected Car. It was like Telecom Council Connected Car. That was the name of the event. And it happened in the Silicon Valley here. And I came back to the office and people said, give me the bottom line. And I said, oh my gosh, the bottom line is connected cars are going to eat up a ton load of bandwidth, right? So you thought that, kids with their smartphones and their tablets and their YouTube videos and their FaceTiming with their grandparents was eating up the bandwidth. Wait till you see connected cars. So that's the great news that's coming our way. And then especially when you think about the ultimate goal of the connected car would be a self-driving car, otherwise known as an autonomous vehicle. The processing power for something like that is just phenomenal. Once again, going to eat up a ton of bandwidth. So here we go, you guys. So this was put on actually by a guy named Kerton, who's from the Kerton Group here in the Silicon Valley, in conjunction with Auto Tech Council. And Derek is basically an analyst and kind of led the whole day. Did a great job. It was well attended. There was more than 300 people there from Verizon Wireless, Deutsche Telekom, Ericsson, Oracle, Spirion. They're GPS fleet management, tracking software, etc. They were one of the major sponsors, and so what's going on in this world right now. So first of all, there's more and more cars coming off the showroom floor that are already connected, and I would say AT&T, I think we'd all agree, is kind of leading the charge, kind of behaving like an MVNO in the space. Throughout the day, as I reviewed my notes and tried to get ready to kind of give you guys the meaty points, kind of came into like three different buckets basically. One was the technology of the connected car, number two was logistics, and the other one was monetization, right? So we'll talk about those three real quickly. So number one, the technology. So the biggest issue that everyone's facing, right, no surprise to any of us, is that the legacy vehicles, right, that means just a vehicle that's not connected. Legacy vehicles, how do you get them connected if they don't come off the showroom floor with being connected? And then once they're connected, or a connected car that comes off the showroom floor and there is upgrades, how do you get them upgraded, right? You upgrade your phone every, year, 18 months. You upgrade your car once every, 7, 10 years or whatever, currently more like 10 years. How do you do it? Obviously over-the-air programming and software upgrades, etc. is how to get that done. There was a lot of talk. This is very interesting, you guys. So a lot of talk about what's known as either it's the future. We don't know what the future is, and this is what we were talking about, is what is the future going to look like, and is it going to be more vehicle-centric or more customer-centric? So let me explain that to you. So vehicle-centric would be, Chevy or Ford, GM or Ford or whoever comes up with their connected car, and you buy a Ford, you better like it. You better like how it's connected, right? Or is it more customer-centric, which is more like more smartphone driven, where your phone that you have and you're used to, that user interface works in conjunction with any car, your rental car, your brother's car, your friend's car, or whatever. So the consensus, you probably could figure out where the consensus was in that room, where that's going, right? You have your phone, you like it, you know it, you want it to work in any car. So that's, we'll see where that goes. It's going to be interesting to be around and watch that. There's a lot of talk about OBD2. So OBD2 is on-board diagnostics. So OBD2 is just the most updated version and newest generation, shall we say, from OBD1. A lot of talk about that. A lot of talk about, once again, the processing power needed and the data centers needed. So I don't know if you know this, but GM and OnStar, so GM, they're building what's known as 2 super data centers to house all the data that's going to be coming out of connected cars. Very cool stuff. A lot of talk about radar versus LiDAR. So radar being the old technology using radio waves, and the LiDAR, or some call it LiDAR, using light basically instead of radio waves. Then of course cybersecurity within the car, that was talked about. And then I don't want to put a wet dish towel on this whole cool conversation, but a lot of people were talking about the fact that with the connected car, as it relates to 4G that we have now, the use cases for connected car as in 4G, we're going to kind of be treading water until 5G gets here in 2020. So there's going to be some cool stuff, of course, but the really cool use case for connected car are going to be available with 5G. So that's the technology portion. Real quickly on the, one more thing. They talked about what are the coolest things about the connected car. So these were just some things that came up. So one would be V2V, right? So vehicle to vehicle communication, things like collision avoidance. The ability to start your car with your phone, unlock your car with your phone, on-street parking apps, right? Like for me from the San Francisco Bay Area, I'm driving around trying to find a place in San Francisco, and it says, hey Paul, take a right here, take a left there, and a right there, and there's a parking space for you. Stuff like that. And then things like alerting your loved ones if you're caught in traffic. Normally you have to pick up the phone and say, hey honey, I'm running late, I'm sorry about that. But this would, there could be a signal sent to your loved ones, whatever, and saying, hey, they already know he's stuck in traffic and he's going to be late, etc. So stuff like that. And then ultimately the obvious would be the self-driving car or the autonomous vehicle. All right, so that's the technical side. Real quickly, you guys, I'll make this real quick. Logistics. How do you manage the different services of a traditional telecom company while doing it with a connected car? So I've been in the telecom for almost 30 years, so trying to get your phone provisioned and activated and do a rate plan change, my God, sometimes it's like, oh my God, how could this carrier screw this up so bad? It's gone a lot better in the past 25 or whatever years. But the question is, how much more difficult is it going to be when it's in a connected car? And then the last thing on logistics I'm going to talk about is just safety, right? So you've got all this cool on-screen stuff, and the question is, and this is really just so cool, who's going to be the gatekeeper of that safety, right? Who's going to be responsible if you look at your screen and you get something pops up that they think you should be taking a look at, and you get in an accident? Who's going to be the gatekeeper? Is it going to be you? Is it going to be the OEMs? And when I say OEMs, I don't mean our traditional, Ericsson, Alcatel-Lucent, Samsung, etc. What I mean is Ford and GM, etc. Though, who's going to be responsible for the lawsuit? Anyway, so a lot of talk about the safety issue. Last but not least, you guys, monetization, right? How do we make money in this whole world? How do you generate revenue with the next generation telematics? How do you market these services, right? Is it coupons on your screen that pops up based on your geography, GPS, where you're at? Hey, there's a restaurant near you and you're probably hungry at this time, and it pops up. Is it time to buy a new car, and something pops up with a deal from Joe's Chevrolet or whatever down the street from you? So there's a lot of talk about that. And then this is very interesting. So if you're in the world selling advertising, right, it used to be what's the circulation of a newspaper, or what's the, how many people are watching this TV show, or what that's, is it pay per click? So, how is that all going to be used and monetized in the connected car world? So very, very interesting stuff. And then at the very end, I'm wrapping it up here, you guys. The very end, Derek did what was called a rapid fire demo and presentation. So basically what it was 12 CEOs from companies in the connected car world that get up there, and they've got 5 minutes, and no more than 5 minutes, and they get up there and they say whatever they want to say about their company and why we should be paying attention to them and using their service or whatever. So it's just really cool to see that. So I think you can probably get all those names of those companies on the website. I think it's just telecomcouncil.com. And then the very last thing I want to remember, that I remember writing down, is that the term connected car at some point is going to be obsolete, right? Right now we're all about, I can't wait for connected car. Just think about your grandkids, your kids, grandkids, or whatever. They're going to be saying, Grandpa, what's a connected car? What does that even mean? Because there would be never a time in their life that they could ever remember having a car that wasn't connected. So anyways, just cool things as you look forward to the technology. Anyways, you guys, that's it. Next for me will be the 5G forum later on this week, and here in the San Francisco Bay Area, 2 days. I'm very, very excited about that. And then of course my Super Bowl at the end of this month, which would be PCIA in Florida. So I'll be talking to you after those two shows. Thanks so much. I hope that this was helpful, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.